In the quiet dawn of a seemingly ordinary day, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the windows of my traditional dojo, I never imagined that my life was about to take such a dramatic turn that would forever change my perspective on existence, spirituality, and the true meaning of success. My name is Hiroshi Tanaka, and for over 30 years I have dedicated my life to teaching traditional martial arts, following a path that was passed down to me by generations of teachers before me. However, what I am about to share transcends any physical or philosophical teachings I have passed on to my students over the decades. The morning of that fateful day began like any other. The scent of incense filled the air as my most dedicated students arrived for morning practice. The familiar sound of bare feet on the tatami and the rustle of training uniforms created that atmosphere of concentration and respect that I have always valued so much. I had been preparing for weeks for a special demonstration for the 40th anniversary of our dojo, an event that would bring together practitioners and teachers from all over the country. As I went through my morning meditation routine, I felt a strange uneasiness, as if the universe was trying to warn me about something that was coming. At the time, I dismissed it as simple pre-event jitters, but now I know it was much more than that. It was the prelude to an experience that would take me into the darkest reaches of the human soul and allow me to glimpse truths that many are not prepared to face. The dojo gradually filled up throughout the afternoon. Familiar and new faces mingled among the crowd, all eagerly awaiting the demonstration that was about to begin. The air was thick with anticipation, and I could feel the collective energy of hundreds of people gathered to witness what promised to be an extraordinary display of the most advanced techniques in our discipline. I was in the center of the tatami, performing a series of movements I had perfected over decades. Every gesture, every posture, every breath was the result of years of tireless dedication to the pursuit of technical perfection. Yet as I executed a particularly demanding sequence, something began to change. At first it was subtle, a slight dizziness, a feeling of heaviness in my chest that I tried to ignore, attributing it to the physical effort. But then everything began to distort. The faces of the spectators became blurred, the lights of the dojo began to flicker strangely, and a deafening buzzing filled my ears. I tried to maintain my composure, aware that hundreds of eyes were fixed on me, but my body no longer responded to my commands. The last thing I remember was the muffled sound of alarmed voices and the feeling of my body collapsing onto the tatami. What followed was an experience that defies all logic and rationality. I found myself floating in an undefined space, where darkness was not simply the absence of light, but a tangible presence that seemed to have weight and substance of its own. The air, if it could be called that, was thick and metallic, as if I were breathing in the rusty remains of abandoned dreams. In that oppressive void, shapes and silhouettes began to materialize. At first they were just vague shadows, but gradually they took shape, revealing figures I recognized from my past. I saw my first teacher, Sensei Yamamoto, who had introduced me to the path of martial arts when I was just a child. His face, normally serene and wise, was contorted by an expression of deep regret. "Hiroshi," he called out in a voice that seemed to come from the depths of a bottomless pit. "Have you come to join us in this place where perfection becomes our prison?" His words chilled my blood, but before I could respond, other figures began to emerge from the darkness. I recognized former training partners, mentors, and rivals, all now united by a common expression of torment. Each seemed to carry the weight of past decisions, of times when they had sacrificed humanity in the pursuit of technical excellence. But that was when I saw him. Out of the shadows, an unmistakable figure was approaching with deliberate steps. The signature black turtleneck sweater, the worn jeans, the round glasses. It was Steve Jobs. Yet this was not the charismatic visionary the world knew. His presence, though still commanding, was tinged with a deep melancholy. "Welcome to the place where the great are lost," he said, his voice echoing with regret. "This is where those of us who pursue perfection at the cost of our humanity end up." I was speechless, watching this icon of technological innovation in such a vulnerable state. Jobs continued, "I built empires, revolutionized entire industries, changed the way the world communicates. But at what cost? I sacrificed relationships, ignored my family, rejected my own daughter in her early years. I pursued a vision of perfection that consumed me completely. His words resonated deeply within me, reflecting my own struggles and sacrifices in pursuit of martial arts mastery. How many times had I put training above all else? How many relationships had I let wither in the name of discipline? Jobs leaned closer, and I could see the pain in his eyes more clearly. The irony, he continued, is that I created devices to connect people, while I myself became increasingly disconnected from my own humanity. Every new product had to be perfect, every presentation had to be memorable, every detail had to be exactly as I envisioned it. That obsession consumed me, taking me away from what really mattered. As he spoke, the space around us seemed to pulse with each word, as if the very atmosphere responded to the intensity of his revelations. Other figures approached, each with their own story of greatness and loss. I saw entrepreneurs who had built empires at the expense of their families, artists who had pursued perfection until they lost their sanity, athletes who had sacrificed their health on the altar of success. But you, Jobs said, pointing at me with an intensity that went through me like an electric current, you still have time. You can still choose a different path. True perfection is not in flawless technique or in a flawless product. It is in balance, in the ability to create without destroying, to achieve excellence without losing our humanity. Jobs' words triggered a cascade of memories in my mind. I recalled the times I'd been too hard on my students, the times I'd ignored my body's signs of exhaustion, the relationships I'd let deteriorate as I pursued my vision of martial perfection. The mood began to change, the darkness growing thicker, more oppressive. Jobs continued. In this place, we understand too late that true innovation, true progress, comes not from the relentless pursuit of perfection, but from the ability to accept and learn from our imperfections. Every product I launched could have been better, every decision I made could have been wiser, but the obsession with perfection blinded me to the fact that good enough is sometimes better than perfect. As I listened to his words, I felt a pressure in my chest, as if something was trying to tear me away from that place. The figures around me began to fade, but Jobs' voice echoed one last time. Remember, true mastery is not in technical perfection, but in the ability to maintain our humanity while pursuing excellence. Suddenly, I found myself back in my body, surrounded by doctors and nurses in a hospital ward. The fluorescent lights momentarily blinded me, and the sound of medical machines replaced the deathly silence of the place I had just left. My family was there, their faces marked by worry and relief. The doctors explained to me that I had suffered a cardiac arrest during the demonstration. I was technically dead for 3 minutes and 42 seconds before they managed to revive me. For them, it was a medical miracle. For me, it was the beginning of a profound transformation. In the days and weeks that followed, as I recovered physically, I began a journey of spiritual and philosophical transformation. The experience had shaken the foundations of everything I thought I knew about success, excellence, and the purpose of life. I began to question the way I had been teaching, the way I had been living. I began to implement changes in my dojo. Classes no longer focused exclusively on technical perfection, but incorporated discussions about balance, compassion, and personal growth. I introduced periods of reflection and meditation, not just as a formal practice, but as a tool to maintain connection with our humanity. My encounter with Steve Jobs in that dark place had taught me an invaluable lesson about the true meaning of success and excellence. I began to see that every imperfection, every mistake, every moment of vulnerability was not a failure, but an opportunity to grow and connect with our shared humanity. I established new traditions in the dojo. In addition to technical demonstrations, we began to celebrate moments of mutual support, small personal victories, breakthroughs in understanding and compassion. I saw how these changes transformed not only my students, but myself as well. The experience also led me to explore different spiritual and philosophical traditions. I found solace and wisdom in ancient texts that spoke about the balance between the pursuit of excellence and the preservation of our humanity. I began to understand that true mastery is not measured by the perfection of our techniques, but by the depth of our understanding and the breadth of our compassion. In the years that followed, my dojo transformed into a place where people came not just to learn martial arts, but to discover their own path to balance and authenticity. I shared my experience with those who were ready to hear it, not as a horror story or cautionary tale, but as a testament to the transformative power of self-discovery. The figure of Steve Jobs, with his mix of genius and regret, became a constant reminder of the consequences of pursuing perfection at the expense of our humanity. His message resonates in every class I teach, in every piece of advice I share, in every moment of genuine connection with my students. Today, as I look at a new generation of students in my dojo, I see something different in their eyes. Not just a desire to master techniques and achieve higher-ranking belts, but a deeper understanding of what it means to be truly strong. I see people who understand that true strength comes not from technical perfection, but from the ability to maintain our humanity while pursuing excellence. My experience in that dark place, my encounter with Steve Jobs and other souls tormented by the quest for perfection, has become an integral part of my teaching. Not as a story to scare people, but as a reminder that the true purpose of any discipline is not to achieve perfection, but to help us become better human beings. The most important lesson I learned and now share with others is that true mastery is not in never falling, but in how we get up and what we learn from each fall. It is not in the absence of mistakes, but in how we respond to them. It is not in the perfection of our techniques, but in the depth of our understanding and the breadth of our compassion. As I continue my own journey of learning and growth, I keep the memory of that experience and Steve Jobs' words alive. His warning about the dangers of obsessing over perfection has become a guide to help others find their own path to a more balanced and meaningful life. And so, each day, as I open the doors of my dojo, I do so with renewed purpose, not just to teach martial techniques, but to help my students find their own balance between the pursuit of excellence and maintaining their humanity. Because in the end, as I learned in that dark place, true greatness is not in the perfection we achieve, but in the path we choose to get there and the lives we touch in the process. Experience has taught me that each of us has the ability to make a difference in the world, not through the relentless pursuit of perfection, but through authenticity, compassion, and the willingness to remain human in our pursuit of excellence. And as I continue to share this story, I see how it resonates with those who struggle with their own quest for perfection, offering them a different perspective and, perhaps, a path to a more balanced way of living and growing. This profound transformation in my life was not just a personal change, but became the catalyst for a quiet revolution in the way we teach and practice martial arts at our dojo. Students who came seeking only combat techniques began to discover something far more valuable: a path to self-knowledge and inner peace. Every morning as I watch the sunrise from the porch of my dojo, I vividly remember those moments in the darkness with Steve Jobs and the other tormented souls. Their stories of regret and loss have become powerful lessons that I share with those who are ready to listen. I have learned that each person who walks through the doors of our dojo brings with them their own quest for perfection, their own struggles and fears. The transformation of the dojo was gradual but profound. We implemented new practices that went beyond traditional physical training. We began each session with a period of guided meditation, where students learned to connect with their breathing and observe their thoughts without judging them. This simple but powerful practice helps create a space of awareness where they can examine their own motivations and desires for perfection. We also introduced weekly open dialogue sessions, where students can share their experiences, fears, and challenges. It is amazing to see how these conversations have evolved over time. At first, most talked only about physical techniques and achievements, but gradually, discussions have deepened into more meaningful topics: the search for balance in modern life, the struggle against societal expectations, the fear of failure. One of the most impactful lessons I learned from my encounter with Steve Jobs was the importance of recognizing and embracing our vulnerability. In the martial arts world, Strength and invulnerability have traditionally been emphasized, but my experience taught me that true strength lies in our ability to be vulnerable and authentic. This realization led me to develop a new approach to teaching. I began to share more openly about my own mistakes and struggles, showing my students that even a teacher with decades of experience is still a student on the path of life. This honesty has created an environment where mistakes are not seen as failures, but rather as opportunities for growth. Jobs' words about innovation and humanity have also deeply influenced our approach to training. Rather than seeking technical perfection at all costs, we encourage our students to explore their own unique style, to find their own voice in the martial arts. We have found that this approach not only produces more effective practitioners, but also more well-rounded human beings. The impact of these changes has been extraordinary. We have seen remarkable transformations in our students. Stressed-out executives have found inner peace. Insecure teenagers have developed genuine confidence, and older people have discovered a new vitality and purpose in their lives. Each story of transformation is a testament to the power of balancing the pursuit of excellence with the cultivation of our humanity. But perhaps the most significant change has been in the way we approach the concept of success. We no longer measure it solely by technical achievements or victories in competitions, but by personal growth and the positive impact we have on the lives of others. This new definition of success has many of our students from the perfection trap that both I and Jobs experienced. Jobs' lesson about human connection has also influenced how we structure our classes. We've introduced more partner exercises and group activities that foster empathy and mutual understanding. Students learn that true mastery isn't just about mastering techniques, but about developing the ability to genuinely connect with others. Over the years, I have seen this philosophy spread beyond the walls of our dojo. Former students have taken these teachings into their own lives and communities, creating a ripple effect of positive change. Some have opened their own dojos, others have applied these principles in their businesses and families, and all have found unique ways to balance the pursuit of excellence with maintaining their humanity. The irony is not lost on me. It took an encounter with troubled souls in a dark place to light the way to a brighter, more balanced way of living. Jobs' words about innovation and humanity continue to resonate in every aspect of our practice, reminding us that true innovation comes not from the blind pursuit of perfection, but from our ability to stay human and connected. As I grow older, my understanding of these lessons continues to deepen. Each day brings new opportunities to apply and share these truths. I see in the eyes of my students the same fire that once consumed me, but now I can help them channel it in a healthier, more sustainable way. My experience with Jobs taught me that every moment of our lives is an opportunity to choose between the relentless pursuit of perfection and the cultivation of our humanity. It is a choice we make not once, but thousands of times each day, in every interaction, in every decision. The legacy of this experience continues to evolve. Each new student who walks through our doors brings with them the possibility of a new transformation, a new story of redemption and discovery. And in each of them, I see the opportunity to honor Jobs' warning and the lessons I learned in that dark place. As I write these words, I am aware that my own journey is far from over. Every day, I discover new layers of meaning in that experience, new ways to apply its lessons. The pursuit of excellence continues, but it is now tempered by the wisdom that true greatness lies not in the perfection we achieve, but in how we maintain our humanity in the process. The dojo has become a beacon of hope for those struggling with their own quest for perfection. It is a place where technical excellence and spiritual growth go hand in hand, where every fall is an opportunity to rise wiser and stronger, where every victory is celebrated not just for the achievement itself, but for the personal growth it represents. And so, as the sun sets on another day of teaching and learning, I find myself grateful for that near-death experience that allowed me to see life with new eyes. Steve Jobs' words continue to echo in my mind, not as a lament of regret, but as a beacon of hope and a constant reminder that it is never too late to choose a different path. My story, intertwined with that of Jobs and the other souls I encountered in that dark place, has become a testament to the transformative power of balance and authenticity. It is a story that continues to be written in the lives of each person who finds their way to our dojo, seeking not only mastery in the martial arts, but a more meaningful and balanced way of living. Every morning, as I light the candles on the altar in the dojo and hear the first footsteps of students arriving for morning practice, I feel a deep sense of gratitude for the second chance I was given. The darkness of that place showed me the way to a brighter light, and now I have the privilege of sharing that light with others. Steve Jobs' legacy, seen through the prism of that extraordinary experience, has taught me that true innovation is not in the creation of perfect products or flawless techniques, but in the ability to constantly reinvent ourselves while keeping our human essence intact. This is the lesson I continue to share, the truth that I hope will endure long after I have left this world. And so the journey continues, day after day, student after student, each moment a new opportunity to choose the path of authenticity over perfection, the path of growth over rigidity, the path of humanity over pure technique. This is the true legacy of my encounter with Steve Jobs in that dark place, a legacy that continues to bear fruit in the lives of all those who dare to seek a more balanced path to excellence.